Over the course of Hollywood history, there have been a plethora of beautiful Hollywood actresses who have died in fatal car crashes. Some of these actresses died right there on the scene, while others died from complications related to the accidents later on down the line. Some of these actresses were just getting started and were fairly young, burgeoning stars, while others were retired stars whose careers were behind them. However, all of them died tragically. Join Factsverse as we explore beautiful actresses who died in car crashes. Jill Banner. Jill Banner was born November 8, 1946. She made her film debut while she was still young, appearing alongside Sid Haig and Lon Chaney Jr. in the campy exploitation feature Spider Baby. The film also boasted the pedigree of B-movie director Jack Hill, who became later known for the features Coffee and Switchblade Sisters. Sadly, Spider Baby couldn't be released for many years due to legal issues with the rights, but the film has subsequently been made available and developed a cult following. Jill played the film's titular Spider Baby, part spider. At some point, Jill was involved in a romantic relationship with Marlon Brando. She gave up her acting career to work in New Mexico real estate during the mid-70s, though she decided to return to Hollywood in the early 80s with the intention of writing scripts. Sadly, Jill never made it to Hollywood that second time, as she was killed in a fatal car accident on the way there. She was hit by a truck while driving on the Ventura Freeway and was thrown from the vehicle. She died at the hospital on August 7, 1982. She was 35. Lisa Baines. Lisa Baines represents a more recent actress who's passed away in a fatal car accident, with her having appeared in the film Gone Girl just beforehand. A driver on a scooter in Manhattan killed the actress, and the culprit subsequently fled the scene until he was caught several weeks later thanks to posters around the area. After Lisa was hit, she was in the hospital unconscious for 10 days before eventually passing away. Despite never achieving immense success, Lisa had a long career behind her at the time of her death. She had studied acting at Juilliard in Manhattan during the 70s and became a force on the stage to be reckoned with. She could be seen in many off-Broadway productions during the early half of the 80s before finally making her debut on Broadway in 1988 with Neil Simon's Rumors. If Lisa's stage performances validated her artistically, it was her later film and television appearances that helped her pay the bills. She began appearing on television more and more in the 90s, including on The Trials of Rosie O'Neill. Her turn in Gone Girl represented a fairly big role for the actress. She could also be seen in more recent TV shows like Royal Pains and The Orville. She'd been living in LA at the time of her death, though she was in New York visiting some of her friends. Judy Tyler. Judy Tyler was close to achieving the fame she had long since desired in Hollywood when she was killed in a fatal car accident. She was born October 9, 1932, and her parents were involved in show business. They allowed Judy to quit school and start modeling at the age of 15, and she was dancing in Manhattan nightclubs by 18. She was also taking acting classes. Judy got a role on the Howdy Doody Show in 1952, though she left in 1955 to act in the Broadway musical Pipe Dream. Adapted by Rodgers and Hammerstein, the musical took its inspiration from the John Steinbeck story of the same name. Judy's appearance in the musical found her on the cover of Life magazine in the mid-50s, where she was featured in an article about up-and-coming Broadway stars. In 1957, she appeared as Elvis Presley's love interest in his third feature film. That film was Jailhouse Rock. Judy had initially been living in New York City, but had driven to California with her husband to take part in filming. On the way back to New York City, she and her husband got into a fatal car wreck. In addition to Judy, her husband and all of their pets also died in the accident. After Judy's death, Elvis refused to watch Jailhouse Rock. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to Factsverse if you haven't already. And stick around for more actresses who died in fatal car crashes. Grace Kelly. Grace Kelly was known as the Princess of Monaco before her unfortunate death, where she passed away in a car accident. The accident was caused by a cerebral vascular incident that Grace had suffered while driving the car, causing her to temporarily lose control. The doctor said Grace likely would have been fine if she hadn't been behind the wheel of the car when the incident occurred. Grace's daughter had also been in the car, but thankfully survived. It was her testimony that allowed the police to put together what had happened, as Grace's daughter claimed her mother had been complaining of a severe headache just before the accident. Sadly, Grace wasn't as lucky as her daughter, and she passed away at age 52. Jayne Mansfield. Jayne Mansfield was a popular actress who had positioned herself as a naughtier alternative to Marilyn Monroe. The two were contemporaries, and Marilyn took great ire whenever Jayne was around aping her style. Like Marilyn Monroe, Jayne ended up dying well before her time in a tragic way. For Jayne, this came in the form of a car accident. Jayne was already a wife and mother when she arrived in Hollywood at age 21. She subsequently found stardom fast, perhaps thanks to her willingness to use her sex appeal to her advantage. The actress was a progressive figure sexually, and she created a good deal of controversy whenever she decided to flash her breasts at the paparazzi. Some of her big roles included her turns in 1956's The Girl Can't Help It and 1960's Too Hot to Handle. The car accident that killed Mansfield occurred on June 29, 1967. There were 2 other adults besides Jayne in the car, and Jayne's 3 children were sleeping in the back. All 3 adults died when the car slammed into the back of a semi-truck, but the 3 children survived. They just happened to be too low to be impacted. Linda Lovelace. Linda Lovelace had lived an incredibly tragic life, but she managed to turn much of her poor fortune around before her death in 1984. She had gained notoriety by appearing in the film Deep Throat, which became the first pornographic film to gain mainstream acceptance. The actress later claimed she had been forced into performing in the film at the behest of her abusive husband, and she turned her back on the porn industry in her later years. Deep Throat was released in 1972, and Linda ended up passing away a decade later. The cause of her death was a fatal car accident in Colorado. She was rushed to the hospital but passed away the same night. She was 53. Her 2 children and second husband were by her side. June Preisser. June Preisser was born on June 26, 1920 in New Orleans. She was one of 6 children, and she and her siblings became vaudeville performers at an early age. June became the most popular of her siblings in the act and was subsequently hired by MGM to start appearing in films. Some of her early roles saw her acting alongside an equally young Mickey Rooney. Sadly, June didn't end up having the same decades-long career in the industry that Mickey did. June continued performing in films into her early 20s before eventually deciding to call it quits after the number of roles she was being offered started decreasing. June lived the life of a normal woman with her son in Florida until 1984, when she and her son both died in a car accident. The accident occurred on September 19th, and she was 64. Peggy Moran. Peggy Moran was an actress who appeared in a variety of B-movies for Warner Brothers in the 40s. She retired from acting after marrying director Henry Koster in 1942, though a bust of the actress subsequently appeared in each one of Henry's films. She lived a long and normal life with Henry and her 2 sons before Henry's death in 1988. Peggy subsequently passed away herself in a car crash in 2002. She was 84. Janet Gaynor. Actress Janet Gaynor died as a result of a fatal car crash in 1982. Though she didn't die instantly, she passed away later due to injuries she sustained. At the time of the A Star Is Born actress's death, she was 77. Now it's time to hear from you. Which of these stories surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.